Wednesday, September 7, 2005. In the lawless countryside of southern Baghdad, as U.S. convoys were ambushed around the clock, two Blackhawks thundered across the sky, low and fast. On board, a very pissed-off group of Delta operators. Their target wasn't a warlord or a weapons cache. It was one American who was long ago presumed dead, but held on in captivity for 311 days. And Delta freed him on video in a single afternoon. This is the rescue of Roy Hallums. In 2004, 56-year-old Memphis native Roy Hallums was nearing the tail end of a long career overseas. As a Navy veteran, college grad, and father of two, had spent over a decade working logistics contracts in the Middle East, not for the thrill, but simply to provide for his family. Hallums had two daughters back home in California. His marriage hadn't lasted, but his love for his girls never faded. He sent money home, called when the phone lines worked, and always promised he'd be stateside soon, for good. But when an opportunity with the Saudi Arabian trading and construction company arrived, Hallums took it and was tasked with food deliveries to U.S. forces stationed throughout Baghdad. He moved into a rented villa in the Mansour district, a once prestigious neighborhood turned to near rubble by the war. Still, there were moments of calm. People bought groceries, coffee shops stayed open, and Hallums maintained a routine, quiet, professional, head down. But Iraq in 2004 was no longer a place for routine. That summer, insurgent groups had begun targeting foreigners, specifically Westerners.
My name is Richard Butler. I'm a freelance producer, cameraman.
Some were ransomed, others were executed and filmed, and Baghdad was coming apart in layers. And on August 24th of that same year, Hallums had just arrived at his office when two Toyota pickups pulled up outside the compound. Armed men in black masks poured out. They moved fast, shouting orders and brandishing rifles. And within minutes, Hallums was zip-tied, blindfolded, and loaded into the back of those two pickups. No resistance, no firefight, no warning. Hallums was gone before anyone could make the first phone call. And to make matters worse, they moved him far and at night. Then came the final stop, a remote farmhouse deep in the Triangle of Death. There, they led Hallums into a back room, ordered him to kneel, and pulled a concrete slab over the floor behind him and buried him. Not in a grave, but an underground cell. Hallums was chained and tethered in this dark underground cell with no airflow, no light, and no sound from the outside world. It was an underground chamber, where Hallums was beaten with cables, starved for days at a time, forced to dig his own grave as a form of psychological torture, and on several occasions they held empty weapons to his head, only to pull the trigger and laugh. But he never gave them the satisfaction of breaking. Meanwhile, back home, Hallums' daughters grew concerned after her father failed to make a weekly check-in call, and it all became real when the Satco group Hallums was working with called his daughter directly to break the news. Your father has been taken. But before we get into the action, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Aura. Alright, we're gonna search a name in Google. We'll use my best friend's name. He won't mind. Look at the results. I got his phone number, his address, his previous address, the size of his house. If you've ever wondered how scammers get your phone number or why your inbox is flooded with spam, this is why. There are these sad excuses of companies called data brokers that sell your data. They do it without your consent, and they make billions selling it to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And while they're legally required to remove your info if you ask, they make it almost impossible to do. That is why I recommend Aura to all of my friends and family, and to you. They take care of the hard part by automatically removing your information from data broker lists, and most importantly, keeping it off. Aura works around the clock to keep your personal information and data safe. And by automatically opting out of data broker lists, Aura has significantly reduced the number of spam calls that I receive. In fact, the number of female calls that I receive has increased by 600%. But that's not even all they do. Aura provides comprehensive protection in one convenient place. That includes antivirus software, a VPN for secure browsing, secure password management, identity theft insurance, credit monitoring, and I've even noticed an increase in gains in the gym. And I don't go to a gym, I am the gym. You don't need to subscribe monthly to multiple apps. Aura consolidates everything you need into one convenient place, saving you time, money, and storage. If you want to shove it up a data broker's database and protect your information, well, Aura is offering you a 2-week free trial, so you're in luck. Simply go to aura.com/popomedic or check the link in the description and protect you and your family's information today. In the weeks that followed, nobody knew the disposition of Roy Hallums. There were no demands, no videos, and in the eyes of many, Roy Hallums was just gone. The US State Department opened a case. The FBI logged it into the hostage rescue fusion cell. His name was passed through the CIA channels, flagged on JSOC targeting boards, and shared with coalition intelligence across Iraq. But in those first few weeks, there was nothing. No chatter, no sightings, no clue which group even had him, forcing Hallums' family to go public. His daughter Lindsay begged for his release on television and pleaded with his captors directly. But the media cycle was relentless. Attention faded fast as the broader picture of the war took over, and many kidnappings filled the headlines, some with brutal endings, but normalized Hallums' circumstances nonetheless. But inside those intelligence rooms, his case stayed hot. Analysts combed drone footage. Human intelligence teams canvassed Baghdad. But back in captivity, Hallum kept his cool by reciting Bible verses from memory. He marked time by counting prayers and footsteps. He'd imagine the sound of his daughter's voices and write letters to them, memorizing these letters in his head, line by line. Soon, months would pass. No proof of life was released, and even his family back in California was preparing for the worst. But not everyone had moved on. Behind the scenes, JSOC, the CIA, and FBI hostage recovery fusion cell kept the file open. Every drone feed, every walk-in source. For nearly a year, these units maintained their curiosity, and it paid off in the late summer of 2005 when a source came forward. The source claimed an American was being held in a farmhouse south of Baghdad. The intel was thin, but it lined up with earlier SIGINT chatter. Satellite imagery showed a structure matching the layout, and in the back, something odd. A clean-cut slab, like a tombstone, sitting in the middle of the dirt. Delta immediately knew, and prepped a package. The team barreled over the triangle of death at 30 seconds out. And as they touched down at the LZ, the team sprinted for the compound and breached within seconds. The insurgents fled, but one was captured alive. Once inside, they hit the target location and began searching for an entrance to the underground chamber. Finally, they located the opening and climbed in to secure Hallums. Once secured, the team secured the area and prepared for extract. After 311 days in captivity, Roy Hallums was rescued. Delta loaded him into a medevac bird and flew him straight to Balad Air Base, about 50 miles north of Baghdad. There, U.S. military doctors stabilized him. Within hours, he was airlifted to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, where Roy Hallums stood up and took his first deep breath as a free man. From Germany, he was flown home and walked into the arms of his daughters. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more mini docs in the works, and you don't want to miss them. And be sure to check me out over on X and Instagram as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.